Oh, hey, I didn't notice you there. That never gets old. um, so yeah, so the Hold On's network is sending me a good thing. I have an article I haven't read entirely yet. So I'll respond on that in full later though. It's similar. I think there's some of the issues are similar to these some of the comments I'm getting about humans, and Kant's idea of humans. And we're just so damn unpredictable. We'll never be subject to something as constrictively ordering as natural science. But have you guys considered that? That's kind of what I'm talking about, is that there's new physics to explain it. And so, for example, one of the new physics in terms of biology, since it's never been applied to human biology, it's starting to be applied in other, discovered that it has been applied by evolution and other biological systems, specifically in photosynthesis, it looks like. But but it's a new science for us in terms of finding any quantum effects in the body. But guess what? That's an interesting thing, because if humans are unpredictable, that does not mean natural philosophy, aka science, will not explain it. Because, for example, right now in quantum theory, we have sort of non-deterministic elements, unpredictability. So whoa, surprise, the physical laws have unpredictable elements. I mean, uh, the issue is something I'm going to categorize as necessity physics. Okay, necessity physics. Necessity physics is basically all the physical ideas that argue that things come from necessity, and this is the predictability aspect. And even in quantum mechanics, there are necessity physics oriented interpretations. For example, in many history interpretation, it's sort of like determinism, because all the possible things happen. If you flip a coin, it comes up heads and tails. Okay, we experience indeterminacy because we go with the heads or the tails, not both. But overall, there would be this kind of macroscopic determinacy. And this is the basic issue here, is that there has to be a physics driven by something else has to come into play if choice is not going to be an illusion. Now, when I've been saying that we defy the laws of physics in our will, a lot of people say, well, that's why will's an illusion. It defies the laws of physics. Obviously, will must follow the laws of physics. But see, we don't know all the laws of physics. So no doubt the will would follow all the laws of physics if we knew them all, but we don't. So, so there's really it's difficult to see how an element of choice gets in. An example I was using is, okay, define the laws of physics. Well, we pump entropy. Okay, is that defining the laws of physics? Well, I mean, it's like it doesn't happen on its own very often that you see, but we can build a refrigerator. The part that isn't explained is the decision to turn the refrigerator on. I mean, that's the intentionality. Now, this Hold-Ons thing they've sent me is something that wants to say, well, everything's alive, and I just disagree with that. Like, it comes from, we can only respect something if it's living, thus we must respect everything, so it's all living. I agree in a way that, because I'm very reductionist, but my reductionism isn't meant to reduce something. If you take the flower and you reduce it down, you say, oh, look at the beautiful flower, but it's just chemicals. You don't get to say, look, I proved it wasn't beautiful. No, you just proved that beauty is a bunch of chemicals. You, when you reduce, you don't take away what you're reducing it. You're just saying, well, what's it made of? Well, beauty's made of chemicals. Big surprise, big deal. Does that make it less beautiful? Evidently not. It makes how it is beautiful. Right. So with the will, when you break down the will, yeah, when you break down us into our parts, evidently the will comes from these non-living parts. But I'm not going to call them living, because that's an important distinction. How I treat a living system is different from how I treat a non-living system. How I treat a mouse is different from how I treat a rock. It's an important distinction for us, and we don't need to get rid of it. Um, and that's why I follow will. I say that, well, we break will down obviously in these elemental pieces, these elemental particles. There's some physical component of them that, when it adds together with other elementary particles, which presumably have the same component, and those components are aligned somehow, that will emerges. So yes, there's some elemental aspect of will in physical material. There's no way around that. Um, Now, will could still be an illusion, but I think the main thing that the advocates of will as an illusion don't face is that why is there this illusion? Why does the river have to have the illusion that it decides to run downhill to run downhill? No. If we are nothing but just a bubbling phenomena like that, it happens to look like it makes choices, just like a river happens to look like it's making choices, but it really is defined just by the gradient going downhill or the gradient in whatever direction we're going. Why would we have the illusion? What purpose could that serve? To give an illusion to a self, which, what is the definition of a self then? Why would you have a sense of self? Why would you have any of these senses? And that remains unexplained. I don't explain it either, but those that would deny will are going to have to explain why they think they can answer that question. So anyway, cheers.